Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited today. We have Leo Gubenko, who is the Global Technical Manager of Controlled Environments with Vileda Professional, which is also a brand of Freudenberg. He is a 24-year veteran in the mechanical engineering field with over 10 years experience in controlled environments industry and is also expert in the clean facility approach. I want to welcome you to the show, Leo.
Thanks, Marcus. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Great. Well, I appreciate you spending time with our audience today. So let's jump right into it. Tell us about yourself and the types of clients that you help.
My background is mechanical engineering. I've been in the industry, like you said, for over 24 years, 10 plus years in the contamination control industry. I started out in a company that converted to an all-med device company. So that was my introduction to Cleanroom and, the quality that goes along with keeping a clean room to standards, and of course, all the checks and balances that the FDA comes with as far as audits to make sure the production in the clean room is done in a proper way.
So is clean rooms only related to the manufacturing, or are there other industries that are involved that you work with?
Well, we concentrate on pharmaceutical companies. So, we're talking about, all the big companies that are out there that you could think of that make drugs, for example. So you've got your Merck, your Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Novartis, Sanofi, AstraZeneca, all the large, big drug companies. Those are our end users, So our solution that we come with is specific to cleaning and upkeeping the clean room, which from our end users' perspective, all they want to do is produce the product. They don't want to have any downtime. They want to have as low amount of downtime as possible. So our solution to the end user is coming in with a solution that reduces the risk of contamination, eliminates microorganisms from surfaces, and keeps their production going.
That's fantastic. You're helping them to create a better product, basically.
Correct.
Excellent. What led you into this field? What got you started in this business?
I was with a consulting company that did a lot of different engineering services, and they ended up converting to a med device company that produced catheters, balloons, stents, other med devices that go into the healthcare industry, of course, for surgery suites and physicians. That's
pretty extensive there. And so how did that pull you into the whole clean room and controlled environment approach in the industry?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I was involved with regular production for med devices. So I was involved with upkeeping, writing standard operating procedures for the clean room, making sure that, the ISO level that we operated in was to par. We went through many audits and things like this. I was actually on the quality side for a while, on the engineering side as well. And that basically led me to contamination control. And about 7 years or so ago, I joined Vileda Professional. We really never looked back after that.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you brought that expertise to Vileda, which is phenomenal. What would you say is one of the most biggest obstacles in what you're doing there with the clean rooms and the whole facility?
That's a great question, Marcus. A lot of challenges in the clean room today, especially in pharmaceutical, is, there's a lot of disinfection that goes on, because everybody's worried about microorganisms as they should be. There's a big focus on keeping the surfaces clean. A pharmaceutical company typically, after each clean, do before and after environmental monitoring. So they go ahead and plate or swab their surfaces and make sure there's no bacteria counts there after the cleans. Because of this disinfection, there's a lot of residue on surfaces. So the residue and, the ugly surfaces that are left behind, there's two pieces to the residue. There's the way it looks, and there's also the entrapment of also microorganisms in layers and layers of residue. So that's number one challenge, I think. Of course, there's some other ones. Space constraints is a big one. A lot of times there's very, very tight areas. And on the other side, there's also very large areas. So that's a challenge as well. How do we clean, large spaces? Certainly, cleaning equipment. We're talking about now there's equipment in that space, includes piping, tanks, flexible walls. These are all challenges that a mop by itself or even a wiper cannot handle. So now you need these special tools to be able to come in and clean these surfaces. Another challenge is housekeeping throughout multiple ISO levels. So you have more critical areas and less critical areas in the same clean room, and now you need to clean them maybe in different ways. So now you need a cleaning system that could do both for you. So these are some of the challenges that are specific to pharmaceutical clean rooms that we deal with.
And so how do you help pharmaceutical companies solve those issues? I mean, because it sounds like there's quite a few of them.
Correct. So we've got systems, specific to not just mops, but really the whole solution, right? So we've got trolley systems. They're able to maybe use two different cleaning methods. We've got a double bucket, triple bucket, your traditional wet system solution. With mops, we also have a pre-prepared solution, which is really a trend in the industry to allow the least amount of cross-contamination. What happens in a pre-prepared system is you're actually taking the exact amount of mops you're going to use in an area, you're putting them in a box, you're dousing them with the exact amount of disinfectant that the mop needs. So now you're not wasting any disinfectant. There's considerable cost savings there. You're taking the one mop, you're bringing that box into an area, you're taking a mop, you're putting it on a handle and frame, you're mopping exactly the amount of square footage that mop will do, right? And we've got all that data for the customer. And now you're throwing that mop away or putting it in a laundry bag. And you're going to the next mop. So cross-contamination-wise, you're never touching a surface with the same mop that you've been on a different surface, if you can imagine. So that really reduces, and that's really a trend in critical areas, aseptic areas or sterile areas, where the focus is on cross-contamination. The traditional bucket system certainly, of course, also works in larger areas, less critical areas. It's still very popular. We've got a double-sided mop that will cover twice as much area without you going back to the bucket. So now an operator can clean not only 250 square feet, but closer to 450 square feet before going back to the bucket. So you can imagine the time savings associated with that. Also, the traditional pull and lift method. Now we have a flat mopping system that you can do modified figure eight. So you're literally covering an area of 250 square feet in a matter of minutes versus hours. So there's a time savings there. Of course, all our mopping systems comes with, we're a very data-driven company, as I mentioned before. So we have third-party cleaning efficacy studies, which is very important to our end users, pharmaceutical customers, that are audited by the FDA. And they do look at environmental monitoring, and they do look at, their cleaning systems and their cleaning efficacy studies. And this is something that we do provide. And all our mopping systems are microfiber, so we do concentrate very much so on mechanical cleaning. And all our third-party tests, for example, are just done with water. And we have outstanding results of 4 to 5 log bacteria reduction that proves out the system. So these are all things they're helping out the end user, of course.
That is excellent. So you're not just providing them critical solutions to help them solve some of their biggest problems, but you're helping them save time, save money, be more green and healthier to the environment, and a real resource savings in a lot of fronts.
Absolutely. The other thing that I think is very important and kind of fights, one of the main challenges, as I explained, is residues left behind in pharmaceutical clean rooms is, we develop our systems to not only disinfect and lay down. Certainly, you need a mop to be able to absorb that disinfectant and also lay down an even amount of surface throughout your coverage. But the thing that separates Vileda Professional versus other manufacturers is we really concentrate on cleaning and disinfecting. So now we have the entrapment of the microfiber on our different technology mopping systems and wiping systems that we're removing that contamination and laying down the disinfectant behind, all in one shot. So an end user doesn't need to do this twice, clean, then disinfect. And a lot of times they skip the cleaning. They actually are just disinfecting and pharma and killing bugs. We do that all with one system.
That's outstanding. So, I mean, you really are creating almost a very holistic type approach to the clean room and cleaning these areas that really is an all-encompassing system that solves it from A to Z.
Exactly. And Marcus, the one thing I did not mention is our systems are very ergonomic. So the other savings there is, you have your cleaning crews and operators, and certainly you want to keep them healthy. And there's a lot of cleaning that goes on in these industries. And the more ergonomic the system, lightweight, easy to do walls and ceilings overhead, this is obviously a savings of that person's health. And, so for safety reasons, certainly people getting hurt because they're mopping and things like this is very important to us. So we focus on that quite a bit.
Absolutely. I can tell you have a lot of passion for this. Getting back to you, what drives you? What gives you your passion and gets you out of the bed in the morning and help the clients and the customers that you're helping?
Well, I really believe in the overall approach of our company and the way we do things. We concentrate on systems and solutions versus products, right? So we have a bunch of products, of course, but we really try to customize almost made-to-order package specific to that end user. So, our sales approach, of course, is we come in and we basically not just say, hey, here's a mop and here's how much it costs. We concentrate on what are your pain points? Where do you have your issues? And then we try to come with a solution. And cost for the product is not necessarily what we focus on. We focus on overall cost down approach, meaning, you're going to save time. You're going to cover twice as much area with the same mop. You're going to save on disinfectant use. You're going to be able to save on ergonomic bills. You're going to have a lot less disinfectant to dispose of, which also costs money. So all these things at the end is a cost down approach and a savings, over weeks, months, in a year. And we don't just concentrate on price.
That's outstanding. So would you be able to describe a specific situation where you actually helped a client overcome a particular challenge and set them up for success in a real world environment?
Absolutely. So, we were basically at an end user and they were using roller mops, which is the industry standard. It's a traditional roller mop, Roll-O-Matic. We sell that product, right? But the IAST recommended practice for cleaning clean rooms, and certainly in your SOPs from an end user standpoint, which is your standard operating procedures, the housekeeping procedures are well written in and everybody follows those. So for roller mops, the traditional way to go is it's a self-ringing system, which is nice. You're basically going to the bucket, ringing your mop, going to the cleanest part of the clean room, which is the furthest part away from the entry point. And you're laying down two overlapping strokes, about 4 foot long, flipping the mop, doing two more. So now you're covering about 4 square feet. Now you're walking back to the bucket and you're repeating. So you can imagine you got 250 square feet to clean. You've got to go back dozens of times to the bucket to do this. Where we can come with a double-sided CE Duo mop, for example, which is super absorbent, lays down consistent disinfectant layers, throughout 250 square feet, and also has the proving efficacy of those third-party cleaning tests that I described earlier. But now you're also using a modified figure 8 approach, which you're going back to that same clean part of the room, and you can literally cover 250 square feet, probably with just one side of that mop. And maybe you flip that mop in the middle and you do the rest of the room. So now wow. I did that room in 2 minutes versus 45 minutes. So that's the time savings right there.
And that was the time savings that one of your end users experienced because they switched over and they started following the system. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. So you put it in perspective, Marcus, you're basically saving, let's say, 40 minutes to clean that one room. Okay, so you add up all that time. This is where that operator could do other tasks, right? Whether it's cleaning other things or actually working on production tasks. This is some real dollar savings for that end user.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you on that. So what would be your best advice, Leo, to quality engineer, production engineer, microbiology engineer listening today who is considering a more holistic approach, considering a way of trying to clean better as well as save on resources as well? What would be your best advice to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll put this in two main points. One is it is a holistic approach, right? So if you have, your clean room and your aseptic area in the middle and your less critical areas on the outside and your regular production areas, even outside of that, we do come with a complete system. So, and it's cleaning, outside in, right? So the cleaner you could have the outer, less critical areas, the less dirty your cleaning will be on the inside of the core. If you can imagine, obviously, if you only concentrate on the core, right, now you're dragging all that dirt and all that traffic that you're walking in with into the core, and it's a lot more difficult to control. So our approach is outside in. Now we're doing your whole factory, so we're doing the outside less critical areas, the semi-critical areas, which are outside the gowning areas, and now also your sterile suites as well. And we can handle all that with one shot. Now, the other point I was going to make was, and this is one of the, the bigger misconceptions out there, is not all mopping systems are made the same. They truly are not. I mean, we spent a lot of R&D time developing a mopping or a wiping system specific for pharmaceutical industry in mind, right? So, that mop needs to absorb X, but it also needs to lay down Y. You can't just be able to absorb but then not lay down. If you're laminating an outer layer on that foam mop, it needs to be able to absorb and not have a glue barrier there. So we have special ways to laminate product which is transparent to liquid. Certainly, we have outer surfaces. Freudenberg is very big on non-woven microfibers and other microfiber technologies. So we utilize the scale of Freudenberg and really bring to the table unique technologies to the industry that you really are cleaning and disinfecting with proven data. And again, so there are specialized systems with a lot more value add, versus others. So that's probably the biggest misconception out there.
That makes a lot of sense. And that whole approach that from the outside in, you're all calling it the clean facility approach. Is that correct?
Correct.
Excellent. Now, do you see that being kind of the trend as far as where your industry is going?
I think so. I think that if you can come with a solution to your housekeeping challenges with one manufacturer, and they can provide the solution for your complete facility and have a proven report that your core manufacturing or your sterile manufacturing is cleaner because you're keeping also, your less critical areas more clean, then certainly there's an advantage to the end user, and that would be the trend going forward.
That's awesome. So, Leo, where can they find more information if they do want to get started or find out, more about your products and your systems and this whole clean facility approach?
Yeah, I mean, they could certainly call us directly at Vileda Professional. We're here at Aurora, Illinois. We have a 700,000 square foot plant that we manufacture out of. They can call us directly there. They can certainly go on our website again and get more information that way.
And that website is ce.viledaprofessional.com, correct?
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, Leo, thank you so much for taking your time today. I really appreciate it. You shared a lot of golden nuggets, a lot of insight for our listeners today. So I really appreciate you being on our show today.
Thanks, Marcus. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. We had another great interview here. You get a lot of insights that Leo shared, a lot of myths and misconceptions that were solved here, and we appreciate you listening in today. So until next time, we'll see you on the Inside Track.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.